handful of other grandchildren that are going to go ahead and share some stories. We have a few of our cousins that were not able to get back. One in Tanzania, and one in Kansas, and one in Sierra Leone, and they're kind of spread out all over the world today. So it's being videoed, so we can share that to them. But Loretta, why don't you come on up? I know you had some things to share from you brothers. But I forgot Mexico too, right? In Mexico. So Loretta's going to start, and then Kyle, I know you had something, and any of the other grandchildren, please just feel free to jump up and
Today I have the honor of reading a couple of letters that my brothers have sent. They're going to read today. So I'm going to read a letter that Doug sent, and then I've asked Eric if he could read Joseph's. So this is my husband, Eric. This is from Douglas. There are so many stories and memories that come to mind when I think of Grandma. But as I ponder her life, it is intertwined with mine. 3 words that described her seem to coalesce in my mind: faith, family, and fellowship. Grandma's faith was ever present and solid. She trusted God fully and expected we do the same. Her actions, her words, all pointed to an ever-present trust that God was in control and we needed to trust him. In my phone conversations as I grew up and moved away, her call to follow the Lord was invariably somewhere in our conversation. I am grateful to the Lord for her faithfulness. A close second to faith was family. I cannot recount the innumerable times we gathered as a family to celebrate a holiday, a birthday, haying, building, butchering a cow, or just being family. With 11 grandchildren, seven of them grandsons, it always amazed me that there were any leftovers after meals at these gatherings. I never thought of her as opulent in a monetary sense, but her generosity of love, food, discipline, and time made her one of the richest women that I know. She loved her family and cared deeply. All of the cousins know this because we have memories of a number of matching clothes, belts, toys, and black bags full of her treasures. But we always have her teachings to love God and to love others. She carried out both of these principles in word and in action. And lastly, fellowship. This ties so closely to family, but her circle widens here. Because of her faith, it was not just family that she loved. There is not a Thanksgiving or a Christmas dinner that I can remember where someone from the community who did not have plans were seated at the table with us. She was always looking out for those who needed fellowship. She was always faithfully attending church, for she knew that the fellowship of God's family is sweet. I think Hebrews 10:23 through 25 summarizes what Grandma exemplified and what she would encourage us to do. Let us hold fast the confession of our hope in Christ without wavering. For he who promised is faithful. And let us consider how to stir up one another to love and good works, not neglecting to meet together as is in the habit of some, but encouraging one another, and all the more as we see the day drawing near. We will miss Grandma, but her teachings of seeking after Christ and loving others will always be with us. And we know she is now celebrating all 3 of these words, faith, family, and fellowship, in ways we all longingly look forward to when we pass from this world to the next. By his grace, Doug.
This is a letter from Joseph, so though there is some first person here, this is from Joseph's perspective, not mine. I wish I could be there with all of you remembering God's faithfulness to Grandma. I love Grandma and am so thankful for her. What a joyful woman who had so much spirit in her, ! She always believed in me and others. I will always remember how she loved to come to her grandchildren's basketball games. During one of my high school basketball games, she saw that I lacked confidence to take three-point shots. So for a stretch, she offered to pay me $5 for every three-pointer I made. Unfortunately, I did not make a lot of money, but I did know that I had a grandma that was rooting for me and wanted me to succeed. The spirit of go for it Try it. You can do it. Was not only encouraged by her spoken word or by just her wallet, but also by her example. She was always doing something new with her lifelong friends or with even a new group of friends. My favorite memory of Grandma is her daily prayers for me, and I'm sure for many of us. Whenever I would talk with her on the phone, she would reassure me that she was praying for me every day. That consistent, faithful love for me and for my family was unbelievably wonderful. She daily went to her Father, the King of the universe, on my behalf, to ask Him to encourage me, to work for me, to strengthen me, to convict me, and to reassure me. That was awesome. I will sorely miss her and her daily prayers, but I will delight in the knowledge that she is face to face with Him, enjoying and worshiping the one she talked with every day. Joseph Ponyo.
What flavor was that, Jim? Well, it was many years ago, and I was a little squirt. And growing up on Fisher Road, I think people have a connection to Fisher Road. There we go. So you understand why. Yeah, thanks, Jed. All right. Yeah. Fisher Road has its own memories and has its own history behind it. And the story I'm going to portray and tell you right now is kind of what happened back then. I might have been about 10, and the rest of us were down somewhere between 9, 8, 7, and 6. And the railroad tracks seemed to be a fun place for always us to go hang out and hide. We'd hide down the railroad tracks, we'd run up and down the railroad tracks, we'd go all over the railroad tracks. The only problem was we couldn't go across the railroad tracks because the next door neighbor didn't want us around. Now, I'm not going to mention the next door neighbor's name, but he had an affinity for chasing us away from his property with words. This afternoon was something bigger, like a and I think there must have been 8 of us, young men and boys and girls, running around the railroad tracks on the other side of the road. And where's Joseph? Joseph's not here. Douglas is not here. All of a sudden, I'm with, I think Vince, maybe it was with me. We're down the side of the tracks, and I hear, "Hey! Hey!" And I hear the girls start to yell and scream. I think, what's going on? And I hear someone on the other side of the tracks, who's the neighbor, saying, "Get your rear ends out of here! Get your rear ends out of here!" I remember Vince and I, one of us taking off to the woods. I remember seeing Laura, Jennifer, the other direction. We had people scattering through the woods, and the neighbor was shooting at us. He was shooting at us. So we all scampered back across the street. I'll ramp the driveway. We get back into Grandma's house, and all the grandparents now are sitting there having supper, lunch with Grandma and Grandpa, and they could see our shaking faces, and we're terrified. And what's going on? What's going on? Mr. So-and-so is shooting at us. Grandpa jumps off in his chair, comes roaring out of the room. What's going on? He runs down the driveway. And Grandma, meantime, is back in the back serving pie to everybody. Grandpa comes back in the house, and he gets on the phone. He calls the state police. Within minutes, the state police are pulling up the driveway. And the thing that always sticks out in my mind, yeah, we were getting shot at. Yeah, it's a big deal. But the thing that always stuck out in my mind was Gigi. We call her Gigi. She came out with a piece of pie on a plate to give the state police officer. And he did. I don't know what happened to the rest of the situation. It was a great memory. We all know what I'm talking about. How many of you were there? Yes, there we go. Right. We understand that, but that was back to Jennifer. I think you mentioned fellowship, and rather the same thing, fellowship and food. Gigi was always trying to give people something. She was always trying to feed people. She was always showing that empathy and that sense of that care. And the last little story that kind of came to my mind was still on Fisher Road. There was a family of boys up the road, the Tyler boys, and they would come down and visit us from time to time. And we had something that was new to the era, electric fences. And, oh, here we go, you already noticed, yeah. Well, of course, you're an 8-year-old boy, 9-year-old boy, and you got a bunch of other 9-year-old boys hanging out with you, and what's the first thing you want to do? Hey, I grab the fence, I want to hold your hand, see what happens, okay? Okay. So we grab fences and shock each other, it's a great thing, but it kind of upped the ante a little bit when Kevin Tyler said to me, hey, he says, I dare you to pee on that fence. Well, of course, his older brother's hanging out there and he says, yeah, I bet you can't do that. And I said, well, sure I can. Didn't think about it. So in the meanwhile, I know I've never seen Gigi looking out the kitchen window. She can see us boys up by the fence. And I get myself prepared. Do my thing, get a big smile on my face, look both directions, and go at it. Well, the next thing I remember was this face right here looking at me. I was like, meanwhile, it's still going on. And she's doing that. What are you doing down there? But the joy that she always brought to any kind of situation it might be the worst situation with someone shooting at you. It could be peeing on a fence. It could be cooking crayfish in the stove. It could be doing, but she always could have that laugh. And it's a joyful thing to stand up here and look at all these faces. If you just look at your neighbor right now, I don't see any tears. It's all, look, we're smiling. It's a happy thing. This is the happiest day for her. She sees all her friends, her family, all kind of gathered around, celebrating these crazy stories that we have. I sent a text to my sister-in-law. She said, "Oh, I'm so sorry for your loss, and I know you'll miss her." I don't miss her. Look around. She's there. She's there. She's the red hair. She's here. So we can have a spirit of joy and a spirit of happiness because Gigi's still with us.
We're definitely going to give the opportunity for any other, is there any other cousins that have any stories they would like to share? She shares. I'm going to read, my sister is in Sierra Leone and definitely wishes she could be here as well, and she had said something and asked if I would read that. But she said, Grandma has left a legacy of Christian children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. She said, I miss being with you and hope that this will be recorded so she can see it. She's grateful for the technology that allowed her to be able to stay in touch with Grandma about every week over the last months and be able to stay in contact with her. She says, I'm grateful that she intentionally takes time to be with me while I'm in the U.S. in her normal way of making us feel special at birthday times. She says, my appreciation for the gift of Grandma has been augmented when I talk with people in Sierra Leone about her. Here, a large percentage of the population don't have the opportunity to know even their parents, let alone their grandparents. So not only children, but even many young adults in Sierra Leone ask me to assist or to mentor, to parent them because they're orphaned. They tell me that I'm rich and blessed to have had a grandma active in my life even now that I'm an adult. Mr. Olive Taylor Pierce is an adopted family to Gwen in Sierra Leone, and they had a chance to meet Grandma. And they say she always tells people about my grandma, how she was so strong and inspirational. She tells them that Grandma was able to take care of herself, was raising chickens and getting around and driving even at the age of 91. Grandma consistently shared the celebration of life every season of the year. She brought the family together. Certain traditions were maintained in those gatherings. In the summer, it was either Prescow or a July birthday picnic. And she used her gift of hospitality at her home every Christmas and Easter and Thanksgiving. And before eating at Thanksgiving, we always said something for which we were thankful for. And she remembers the many times where family was a part of that. It was just a given that we were thankful for each other. And she was always known to be full of joy and gratitude and laughter and generosity for her quick and kind humor. She sent letters in the post with the return address Singing Hen Farm. She always raised chickens and shared the eggs. She also shared food and flowers from her garden. So Grandma let her grandchildren know that she loved them and was praying for them. When saying she would see you later, she would always tell them that she was praying for her, and she would say, love you, love you. I think many of us can remember that, parting from Grandma's house and being let know that, hey, we're praying for you, keep up the good work. I'm going to give any of the rest of you that might be interested in sharing a story, we'll keep them in brief and won't go too long, but if you've got some memories that you'd be willing to share, we would sure love to hear those from you. Yeah, please do.
Hi, I'm Amy Wenzel. I'm not an official grandchild, but I married the oldest grandson, so I was a granddaughter by marriage. And I always thought in my head I would share the story because it's one of my favorites. 1992 is when I graduated from college. Kyle and I had just started dating. Gwen had just graduated from high school, and although I had met my future mother-in-law and father-in-law and Kyle's family, I hadn't met the extended family. And it was Gwen's graduation party at your parents' house that I met Uncle Dan. I remember coming out of the car and Uncle Dan filming me with a video camera as soon as I could get out of the car behind the video camera, and that's how I met him. And everyone just came up, and it was like I never met them, but they instantly just made me feel like I belonged. They were so loving, so kind. And I think it took me a while. I remember Gigi sitting like at a picnic table off to the side, and after kind of meeting everybody, Kyle bringing me over and saying this is, and I think I met Grandpa Wenzel maybe right when we were coming, but she was by herself. And I sat down with her, and Kyle said, this is my grandma. And she was instantly very loving, very kind, welcomed me right away. Sit down, dear, tell me about yourself. So I did, and I think Kyle left. I think it was just her and I sitting there. And she was, like I said, very loving. Asked me, I just graduated from college. She asked me about that. I told her I wanted to be a teacher. Started telling her about some things, and she just stopped me and said, dear, please tell me what church you go to. And I said, oh, well, I've been raised in the Presbyterian church. And she went, we like the Presbyterians. I remember thinking, oh, I'm so glad that was the church I was raised in. I don't know where I'd be today if I would have said a different church. So it was just so funny how she was just so loving and kind, but kind of cut to the chase right there. She wanted to know what church I was from, what was, where my history was with that. But I just, so many stories like all of you have. I'm very thankful to have had her as a grandmother, even though it was Kyle's. I felt like she was mine. I always felt like God put her in my life for so many reasons. But I wasn't fortunate enough, kind of like you just said, to have grandmothers, to know them as a wife and a mother at this point in my life. I was younger when I lost my grandma Liswell. I was probably 12 or 13 when she passed. Kyle and I had just gotten married when I lost my grandma Ruth on my mom's side. But I always thought that Gigi was a culmination of both of those women. My grandma Liswell, that I didn't know a whole lot, was very strong. She was a German lady. She said it how it was. She just didn't mince her words. And I remember that about her. She just kind of had like that Spitfire attitude, and we all know, of course, Gigi had that. And then my grandma Ruth was that grandma that liked to cook and liked to bake, and used to tell me to add extra vanilla when I was baking cookies because they taste better. And Gigi was that too. And I always felt like God put those two ladies and let me experience them through her. And I'm so thankful for that. I'm thankful for just her role in my family's life, that my daughters knew her, and that we got to know her. And like all of you said, just her testimony and how to be a bold, courageous Christian woman. She just was just a huge, huge role model for me. And I'm just so thankful for her. So thanks for letting me share.